Welcome to our midweek massage. Got your peanut. We're going to be working head down to tail today, and as always, if anything's not feeling good in your body, listen to that and either back off a little bit in intensity or work in a slightly different area that's still nearby. I'm going to show you this first bit sitting up because it's actually kind of weird and really weirdly effective. We're going to be working on our heads. So I take my hair down, and when you're lying down, you'll be using the back of the peanut and walking around the back of your head. So I'll give it a try. So we're lying down, and just have a little bit of an explore with your peanut on the back of your head. And sometimes there are surprises, because just like over the rest of the body, we have our layer of fascia just beneath the skin, and then the fat layer, and then another layer of fascia. And usually in the rest of the body, we have some opportunities to stretch and to get these layers gliding against each other, but we can't really stretch our scalp that much. You get it a little bit when you go to the hairdresser and they give you a nice head massage. And that's what we're kind of doing for ourselves today, just having a bit of a feel around, seeing what you find. If you find a place that feels like it would benefit from a little bit more time and a little bit more pressure, you can just pause there, breathe into it. And as we're moving into a moving meditation practice like self-massage or yoga, I think there's something to be said starting from the head, the place where all the thoughts and the distractions come from. So it's not that big a leap to go from being entirely focused on what's happening inside of our heads, inside of our brains, to just moving a little bit more towards the outside of the head and to the scalp. And we'll start to make our way down to that occiput point where the head meets the neck. And I find I usually need to hold my peanut to keep it in the spot where I want it. From here, you might just stay and breathe and feel into this gentle pressure at the base of the skull. You might keep hold of your peanut, but move into some little nods. Don't feel like you've got to put a lot of downward pressure into this. You can just let the natural weight of the head rest. You might find that as you do your little nods, the peanut just naturally moves on its own. The other thing you can try is, rather than feeling like you're driving the movement from the head, feel like you're starting the movement from your legs and your feet and your pelvis. Because if you just do a little forward and back roll with the lower body, or even just some pelvic rocks, sometimes that will just give you that same gentle shearing feeling, that gentle feeling of rocking forward and back on the peanut. It's also quite nice with your head gently turned to one side with that same gentle move forward and back. It's usually some worthwhile stuff to dig into around the side here. It's a great place for some yawns, or even just some experimental movements with your jaw, seeing what you find. There's usually something to be found. I'm finding plenty today. And we can take it over to the other side. And then we'll make our way back to center, And continuing down the neck, and this is the moment where I've got to go from hair down to hair back up again because it's getting tangled. And it's up to you. You can continue to do that gentle forward and back movement that starts from the lower body, or you can just do little nods with your head as you move. Along this journey, you might find you reach the point where it feels more comfortable to have your head on the pillow rather than on the floor. And you might also find that you're feeling a lot more sensation for one side of the neck than the other side. And if it feels like there's a side that just needs this a little bit more, or would benefit from a little bit more pressure, you can just mainly rest your weight on that side of your peanut. And with that one ball, just do again some gentle side to side movements with the neck, or some little nods, or even just staying in place and breathing. Even though we're using that focus of getting right into the layers of what we feel around the neck, being really gentle with yourself. So it can be tempting to really dig in there, but often our sensitive necks respond to that by tensing up more in protection. So you want to be working that level that feels like a sense of release is possible. And as you're making your way down your neck, we're going to be getting to our upper trap soon, that place where the neck meets the shoulders. So your peanut might just nestle in there all on its own really nicely, or you might find that you need to hold the tails. And we can just stay with compression, just breathing and resting into this. We can continue with the shearing, which is the little forward and back roll with the body. So working a little micro movement forward and back. Or this might be a place where you bring in your arms. Maybe reaching the arms back, behind. That can be a good way to hold the peanut in place as well. Maybe starting to move the arms. You draw your elbows in by your side ribs. Just as with your neck stuff, you might feel like one side of the shoulders needs this a little bit more than the other side, so you can lean your weight into one side and focus on moving that arm. And we always have our breath as a way of bringing awareness into the body from the inside. Experimenting if the release of the breath out can help to facilitate a physical release as well. You may not choose this next option if your neck is feeling really sensitive today. See how you feel with it. But we can bring the hands behind the head and just do a little lift and lower of the neck with the support of the hands. And that can be another way to explore, to find a bit more movement into places that have been a bit stuck and a bit tight. And sometimes if the thoracic spine, the upper back, has been a bit stiff and a bit tight, it limits the movement of our shoulders so that they're not moving in their ideal alignment and can make more shoulder tension and more upper back tension. So thoracic mobility can be really helpful for tight shoulders. And if you like a bit of extra downward pressure, you can be in that curled up position and combine it with the shearing with a little roll forward and back. I'm feeling all of this today. And let's roll our way to a little bit more down the thoracic spine, maybe a little bit more in between the shoulder blades. Feel the next tender spot where you want to stay. You can have your head just resting on the floor or on a pillow. And we'll try some different arms. So we had the arms reaching back, and that can be good here as well. We can do some wings, like some snow angel wings. Had to go to clear the pot plants, but you might stay lower to the ground. And as you're doing those wings, you might feel a place that just feels really helpful to stay longer, to breathe into more. Maybe do some little micro movements. Just encouraging a little bit more freedom of movement in a place that feels a bit more tight. Bending the elbows will change things as well. You can come back to some bendy arm wings. Some little micro moves. And another great one that I love is either the go-go dancing arms, the slow motion go-go arms with the arms up above the chest, one going forwards, one going back. Or steering a giant steering wheel. And action that in real life would probably be really tightening and tension making for our shoulders, steering a giant steering wheel. Or like the wheel of the boat. And you might have found, I've noticed this happening for me, my peanut has just naturally rolled itself a little bit more down the rib cage, and that's where we're headed. But you might like to come back to a few more traveling movements with the hands behind the head, a bit of a long range roll. Or as you go, if you feel a place that's feeling a bit stuck or a bit tight, a little curl up and then a little open back. And if you felt like you weren't getting enough room to move with this, you could put a yoga block underneath, and then you'd have a bit more room to go before you hit the floor. And we'll be moving down the spine soon, so if you want to find one more spot on the thoracic spine to stay a little bit longer, now would be a good time to find your next location. And if in doubt, that bottom part of the rib cage can be a really useful spot to stay. So if you can't find anywhere, just through your own exploration, let me guide you to the place where I feel tight. And so having settled into this next place, so we're going to spend this extra time, whatever feels good with your arms, whether it's behind the head or by the sides. And we're staying in place now and working with breath. And as you inhale, just the expansion of the lungs will give you a little bit more downwards pressure on your peanut. And then on the exhale, that might be that moment where you feel a little bit more of a sense of release. Or it could just be a sense of breathing with the sensations in your body. And also the time to explore and notice what types of movements or stillness your body is responding to. Whether the sustained compression's feeling really useful, or the shearing, the little forward and back movement, or staying in place with the ball and moving the arms. Just adding it to your own personal toolkit. I'm going to continue down the lumbar spine now, and if it gets hard work moving on your mat, sometimes I grip the edges of my mat with my hands to help. So we'll mainly be driving this with our feet as we do a little roll further down the spine, heading down from the rib cage. Yep, hands can go behind the head. You might not need to grip your mat, and hands behind the head can be nice neck support. If you've elevated through the upper body, it's a little bit more downwards pressure. if you're letting the head rest down, you might feel a little less intensity. All of these moves are probably going to make our hair really messy. And might make us walk off our mat continually. If it's feeling really good, going with the forward and back rolls, feel free to stay with that direction of movement. This is about where I usually like to go from either side of the spine to crossways across the spine. So see what feels good for you. The nice thing about crossways is we get this nice side to side roll action, which can feel a bit more free flowing than the little forward and back roll. Always, if you find a place that feels like it can appreciate it, you might just stay in place for longer. Sometimes with the side roll, you end up traveling down towards the sacrum anyway, but you might end up moving the balls to get them where you want them, and that's fine. And so we're probably getting a little bit closer down towards the sacrum, and we've been doing quite a bit of movement, a bit of touring. If you have noticed somewhere along the way that feels like it would benefit from some more sustained time, to relocate your peanut there, pause there, breathe into it. And if nowhere has come to your attention, one spot that I usually really enjoy, it's the sacrum where the spine meets the hips, and those like little dimples that you might have on your lower back. That's the sacroiliac joint, so that can be a good spot to pop your peanut and to stay and to breathe. Yeah, you can definitely lift your legs up if you like a little bit more downwards pressure. And if you feel good with the legs lifted up, you might even like to move the legs around a little bit, maybe a little forward and back, maybe some little circles. Long, deep breaths. And then from here, usually my first go-to, but getting near the end of our head to toe tour, just going to give our glutes some massage. So you might like to head to your right buttock first. Feel free to change the angle of your peanut. So you can just have both feet on the floor, or you can go ankle to thigh. You can take a tour, or you might already know exactly where you want to put that peanut. Another leg move I've been liking is turned out and long, and then out to the side and bent. And if you're thinking, ooh, I like that, but I'd like it to be more intense, you can go from being more lying on your back to halfway, lying on your back to lying on your side, so you've got a bit more direct weight pressing down. Definitely finding some stuff there. And then from here, let's continue around, a bit more side butt, like the side pocket of your jeans, TFL. which stands for tensor fasciolate, not side pocket of jeans. Having a roll. If you needed more intensity, yeah, you could move that bottom leg. See what you find. Probably something. Maybe lots of things. What have we got in our pockets? Tight muscles. And so if you've got some unfinished side butt business, feel free to stay a little longer. Otherwise, we'll make our way around to left buttock. So I could start with a tour. So you might find different stuff on the left side. And as before, you could do some different things with your leg. Whether it's ankle to thigh or turned out, long and bent. If you wanted to turn up the volume of those sensations, you could get a little bit more. It's like if you lift the rest of your body up a bit more, you'll have a bit more peanut intensity. And from here, TFL, side pocket. Potentially, maybe even probably, a different experience to the other side. So from here, we're going to be heading towards our relaxation soon. And I feel like this may not be the most relaxing note to end on. So if there was somewhere else in your body that you wanted to return to, you're welcome to. Or if you want to just come back to peanut head to tail direction underneath the back of the sacrum and just flow back into a gentle little side to side roll. A nice chance to enjoy that new fluidity you've created through the hips. A nice chance to check in with how the spine is feeling. And if you found that you were making faces or clenching your teeth or doing any of those things that we might do if we find some really gnarly tight spots, a little bit of time to ease towards ease and relaxation and comfort. And then from here, with comfort in mind, if you want to get a pillow or a blanket or anything to help you stay cozy, you're welcome to gather those things now. We're just settling in for a few minutes, but it's still worth getting all your props, your cushions, anything that might mean that you get a little bit more out of this time and get even more comfortable. And this is integration time. And so we'll begin by just feeling the ground beneath us, feeling the body rest and settle into that support. You might check in with your breathing as well, just noticing that flow of breath in and out through the nostrils. Not having to do anything extra with the breath, just checking in. And checking in with state of mind as well. Sometimes when we work into these areas of the body where we uncover tight spots, tension, holding patterns that maybe we didn't even know that we had, we might feel a corresponding something coming up in the mind. And this is a safe space to be with that. Just being really compassionate with yourself if anything does come up. It's a space to explore it if that feels worthy and appropriate. Or this could also be space to let go. You might like to bring your awareness right down to the base of the spine, into the hips and the buttocks, or you're just working and feeling into these dense, strong layers of muscle. Just noticing the sensations. Maybe there's a bit of warmth or a bit of extra vibrancy. Maybe it feels like everything is a little bit more spread out on the floor. Maybe it feels like these big, strong muscles that usually work to hold us up now have this chance to rest and release. Continuing to move your awareness up the lumbar spine, the lower back. And again, this is just time to explore, to see what you notice. Gently continuing with your awareness, moving up the thoracic spine, behind the rib cage. And this could be a nice place to check back in with the breath and see if your awareness or capacity of breath has evolved, being worked around the shoulders and the upper back. To continue from here, moving your awareness more into the shoulders and where the shoulders meet the neck. If it feels like there are any places that would benefit from a little more time, a little bit more attention and nurturing, you might like to go there now with your breath. As you inhale, sending breath flowing to a particular spot. On the exhale, it could just be the release of the breath out, or it might be this opportunity to encourage that tight spot to soften just a little more, to let go a little more as the breath flows away. And that exploration could continue up the neck, all the way to the head. Taking these last few moments to really be with your breath, your body, your awareness. From here, feel free to stay lying down. You like a little bit more lying down time. You could gradually start to ease your way up to sit. Either way, taking this time now to acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of the ground beneath us, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation here in Northcote. Honouring as well the wisdom, traditions that have passed these amazing techniques of yoga, meditation, massage down to us today. And finally, honouring your own energy that you put into your practice today. Wishing you namaste. Thank you so much for joining me.